Hello, this is Michael Haidt, the Ministry Geek. This week's tip on using logos is how to refine your searches to make them maybe a little bit more powerful, a little bit more accurate to what you're looking for. Recently, I was doing some research trying to find articles and information in my logos library that compared 2 Peter and Jude, compared those two books to each other. And how might you start that search? Well, the first thing is to go up and click the search icon and open a search panel, and we're going to do a basic search, and we're going to search for everything because I want to find it in all of my different books. And we're going to type in the phrase 2 Peter, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in quotes just to make sure it finds it as a phrase, and Jude, and I'm going to hit enter. As soon as I do, I see some search results, which is what I was after. But you'll notice that it organizes my search results and it just shows me results 1 through 10. The reason that it's doing that is because it found so many that it's going to compartmentalize those searches for me, and it's only going to give them to me a few at a time because there are literally thousands. In this case, there's literally tens of thousands. If I go ahead and go down to the bottom of this panel and click here where it says Search All Resources, it's going to show me that it found 50,446 results where the phrase 2 Peter is near or somewhat connected to the word Jude. Now the problem is, and we can see the problem in this search result to begin with, one of the reasons why it's so many is because it's finding every place that the phrase 2 Peter exists and the word Jude exists in somewhat of a proximity to one another. Look at some of these search results. Here it says 2 Peter, talks about the date of 2 Peter and Jude. This is talking about the authorship of Jude. You can see from these results that it's just finding everywhere that 2 Peter is mentioned and Jude is mentioned. So one of the things I can do to refine this search a little bit better is instead of searching all resources, I can search in a particular collection of resources. You can create collections based on the type of resource it is, whether it's a commentary or Bible dictionary or an encyclopedia. You can make collections any way you want. But if I click here, you'll notice that I have a grouping of collections, and I can look at all of my commentaries. So it's going to find every place in all of my commentaries that mentions 2 Peter and Jude. Now this helped. It helped me go from 50,000 results to 38,000 results, but it's still not helping me as much as I need it to. I still would have to process 38,000 results to find what I'm looking for. And oftentimes, again, if I just expand one of these, you'll see that it's not talking about 2 Peter and Jude together. It's just talking about this particular one mentions 2 Peter, and then in this footnote it mentions Jude. And here's another one where it was talking about 2 Peter 2:4 in comparison to Jude 6. And as I scroll down, here are a number of them that mention Jude, and later on in the footnote it mentions 2 Peter. See, the results are just giving me every place that it finds 2 Peter and Jude, not 2 Peter and Jude together or articles that are talking about 2 Peter and Jude. I could narrow this down to a different collection. I could look in just my dictionaries and encyclopedias, and that's going to drop it down to 3,000 results, but I still have the same problem. It's still just finding every place where 2 Peter is mentioned and Jude is mentioned, not articles that are related to 2 Peter and Jude. And so I need to refine my search so that it's finding 2 Peter and Jude as the title of articles or the title of entries in these various books and commentaries. So the way I do that is I can go up, and you'll notice that my search query in the past has been search all text in dictionaries and encyclopedias. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to all commentaries because that's really what I'm looking for. And instead of searching all text, when I click on this, I now have this group of search fields. I can click the little expansion arrow next to that, and I have all these different search fields that I can search in. And one of them is heading text. Heading text is going to be those bigger, larger texts, entries, article titles, and I can narrow my search just to those heading text sections. So if I click on heading text in my commentaries, you'll notice now instead of 3,000 results, I'm looking at 56 results, and it's only going to search in the headings of these books. So if I scroll down here and I look at this particular commentary, notice here's one on false teaching in 2 Peter and Jude. Notice it found it because it found it in the heading. I'm going to go ahead and close this other search so that it shows me the results more accurately. Notice it only found this article because it found it in the heading text. 2 Peter and Jude are mentioned in the heading here. If I go down to the next one, 2 Peter and Jude, where lies the priority? This is talking about which came first, 2 Peter or Jude, and why some people believe Jude was written first and why some people believe 2 Peter was written first. Those are the kinds of articles that I was after. And now I only have 56 results to look through. And I'm looking at articles or entries, subheadings, that have this association between 2 Peter and Jude. So you'll notice I originally started out with 50,000 entries. Now I only have to look at 56, and those 56 are much closer to what I was really looking for to begin with. So how do you refine your search? Two ways. One is you can search a particular collection, a particular type of resource, but also, and more importantly for this particular tip, you can search in the heading text and find just those entries in headings that contain the search text that you're looking for. Now, one of the problems with this is you got to remember to get rid of that the next time you do a search. So if you go up here to heading text and you click on it, you can just hit clear, and notice you'll be back to all text, and that goes back to that 38,000 results. But for later on, if you're finding your searches are acting a little wonky, you may look at that and realize you had searched for headings before, and now you want to search for all text, and that setting is still stuck in heading text. But in this case, I wanted to search for heading text, so I do the search for heading text. Now I can explore these various articles where 2 Peter and Jude are mentioned in the headings, and they will help me find my search. So I hope this helps you make your searches a little bit more accurate. It's a simple little tip to help you use searches in Logos 8 a little bit more effectively. We'll see you next time with another tip on how to use Logos.